This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
Mostly sunny, 28 today. With the 6 o'clock news, I'm Mel Usher.
Had a bingle driving to work? Contact premierpanel.com.au. RAA approved crash repairer.
More COVID restrictions in SA have been wound back. Michaela Kamarik with more.
As the clock struck 1 minute past midnight, home density, fitness and hospitality restrictions were eased. Private gathering limits have lifted from 10 to 50. Density restrictions for fitness facilities have increased from 1 per 7 square metres up to 1 per 4 square metres. Hospitality venues can now operate at 75% capacity outdoors with standing consumption allowed, while as of Monday next week it's recommended 50% of people go back to the office. Further easing of restrictions will be considered in coming weeks, including easing rules on dancing and singing.
A third COVID jab is now considered necessary to be up to date on vaccinations. In a move away from the term fully vaccinated, Atagi says anyone who hasn't had the booster within 6 months of their second dose will be classified as overdue. National Cabinet deciding the third dose will only be mandatory for aged care workers. States can decide to make it compulsory in other areas, but people are still being encouraged to get their booster to provide extra protection against COVID. There are concerns for the Queen's health after Prince Charles tested positive to COVID for a second time. Nine's Carrie-Anne Greenbank is in London.
After confirmation that Prince Charles has tested positive again to COVID-19, Buckingham Palace won't reveal whether the Queen has tested positive or negative, just that she doesn't have symptoms. It's understood the 95-year-old monarch spent time with Prince Charles 2 days ago when he visited Windsor Castle. This is the second time Prince Charles has had COVID. The last time he tested positive was in March 2020, and it is understood this time he doesn't have serious symptoms. He's also triple vaccinated.
Hundreds of thousands of workers will start being paid superannuation regardless of how much they earn. The Senate has passed a bill abolishing the $450 a month threshold, shoring up regular payments for around 300,000 workers. Superannuation Minister Senator Jane Hume says 2/3 of those who will benefit are women.
These workers will have the same right to save for their future as other workers, and it means an effective 10% pay increase for some of our lowest paid workers.
The British Prime Minister says the Ukraine crisis is probably at its most dangerous moment as Russia conducts military manoeuvres in Belarus. Boris Johnson says the West is pursuing a policy of strong deterrence and patient diplomacy. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov denies Moscow is using coercion and cautioned Western politicians against using threats in the search for a diplomatic solution.
No doubt, of course, we need to normalise our relations, but this is supposed to be based on mutually respectful dialogue, an equal dialogue based on the recognition of each other's legitimate interests and the search for acceptable solutions.
And Lee Sales is leaving the 7:30 report. She made the announcement during last night's program, but will